Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's lesson is adding decimals using the standard algorithm. And I put unit 3 here because this lesson is actually throughout the unit. They teach you many different methods to add decimals, but we're going to mainly just focus on the algorithm. So again, our goal is today I will add decimals using the standard algorithm. We don't have any vocab now, but we do have some notes, and it's just a reminder that whenever you add a decimal to a number, you must add it to the, and hopefully you're thinking, end. We must always add it to the end so you don't change the value of the number. So remember, if I have 38 and I want to add a decimal, if I add the decimal to the front, I've completely changed the value. I've gone from a whole number to a very small number. If I put it in the middle, imagine having 38 and then all of a sudden you have 3.8. You've changed the value also. But if I add it to the end, I had 38 and I still have 38. So we always add it to the end to not change the value. Okay, our steps tonight are add a decimal if needed to the end. Okay, that's going to be an important step because when you add decimals, you have to have a decimal in all your numbers. Our next step is you're going to set up your problem vertically. So vertically is up, down. You're going to set it up, down, being sure to line up your decimals. So that's going to be a really important step. Okay, number 3 is I'm going to add zeros, and I usually like to add them with X's to know that it's an added one. So I'm going to add zeros to create kind of what we would call a box. Okay, we're not going to actually draw the box, but just so I have this box shape. Once I've done that, I am going to add just regular addition. And then I'm going to bring down the decimal using a line. So I'm going to do something like that. Okay, so what does this really look like? Well, if you're really good with addition and you're good with carrying, there's not going to be much new things to this. Okay, so my first problem looks like this. Let's look at our steps again. So let me get my papers ready. Add a decimal to the end if needed. Well, this one has a decimal. Oops, this one does not, which I want them all to have a decimal. So I'm going to add it to the end. Okay, my next step says I'm going to set up my problem vertically, being sure to line up my decimal. So vertically means up, down. So I'm going to have 54.26, and I'm going to add 28 decimal. Notice I lined up my decimals. Okay, that's going to be really, really important. You could even draw a line down them right now if you had to. Okay, my next step says I'm going to add zeros to create a box. So I'm going to add zeros to create kind of this like box shape. Okay, so there's long and there's numbers on top of each one. So it's kind of this box shape. Okay, then I'm just going to add. So I have 6, 2 plus 0 is 2, 4 plus 8 is 12, so I put a 2 and carry a 1. 1 plus 5 plus 2 is 8. Okay, and my last step is I'm going to bring down the decimal using a line. So I would line these up, and I'm going to bring one down there. And that is it. So again, if I'm good with adding, there's really not many new steps to it. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so my steps are going to be the same, and you can look at your steps or you can look at mine. Sorry, let me get my paper folded and ready. Okay. So I have add a decimal if needed to the end. Well, this one has a decimal and this one has a decimal, so I don't need to add a decimal. Step 2, set up your problem vertically, being sure to line up your decimal. So I have 31.7, or 31 and 7/10. I'm going to add 6.35. So notice how I'm being really careful to line up my digits too. Okay, next, I'm going to add zeros to create a box. Well, there's nothing under this one, so I'm going to add a 0. There's nothing on top of that one, so I'm going to add a 0. So again, like I could draw this box around it. Okay, and again, everything's lined up super carefully. Okay, step 4, I'm going to add. 0 plus 5 is 5. 7 plus 3 is 10. 1 plus 1 plus 6 is 8. And 3 plus 0 is 3. Oops, you misspelled that, sorry. And then bring down the decimal using a line. So my answer is 38 5/100. Okay, let's try some. So here's our first one we're going to try. Okay, so your steps are in front of you. Step 1 says add a decimal if needed. Well, they both have decimals, so I don't need that. Step 2 is I'm going to set up my problem vertically, lining up the decimal. And I'm going to be really careful about how I write it. So my 2 is going to go there, my decimal is there. So make sure that you have those lined up. Step 3, add zeros to create a box. Well, that doesn't have a digit and that doesn't. So I could draw a box around. Step 4 is let's add. 5 plus 0 is 5. 2 plus 9 is 11. 1 plus 4 plus 2 is 7. 1 plus 0 is 1. And then step 5 is bring it down with a line. Okay, let's try another one. Number 2. Okay, step 1, add a decimal if needed. Well, this one doesn't have a decimal, so I'm going to add it to the end. Okay, step 2, set up my problem vertically, being sure to line up my decimals. Step 3, add zeros to create a box. So now I have that kind of box shape. Step 4, add. So I'm getting that. Step 5, bring down your decimal using a line. Okay, let's try 2 more. We're doing a lot today because they're quick. Okay, step 1, add decimals if needed. I don't need them. Step 2, set up my problem vertically, being sure to line up my decimal. Step 3, add zeros to create a box. Well, there's already kind of a box shape. Step 4, add. And step 5, bring down your decimal using a line. Okay, step 1, I'm going to I'm going to add decimals if needed, which we don't need one. Step 2, I'm going to add, sorry guys, I'm going to set up my problem vertically, lining up the decimal. I'm really getting tongue-tied tonight. Step 3, I'm going to add zeros to create a box. Step 4, I'm going to add. And step 5, I'm going to bring down my decimal. Okay, so now we did 4 together. I'm hoping you feel really confident for your 4 that you have for homework and rating yourself, okay? All right, have a nice night, ladies and gentlemen. That was a quick video. Good night.